Hello and welcome to today's video. My name's ArbieG. Today we are back with the VW Beetles Championship. A few days late getting this video out. This race actually took place last week, but been a little bit behind on the old video content. So we're here today with round 8 of total of 10 rounds. So we should have 2 more after this. So getting towards the end of the season. 2 races. First race 20 minutes based on a 5-minute quali, so a single shoot quali. And then a second race based on reverse grid of the first race. Here's the standings as they are at the moment. So you can see here myself sitting in 7th place at the moment. So this is the standings prior to the race. I've got a 5-point award for being clean at Red Bull Ring, which I'm obviously pleased about. In terms of tier 2, obviously you've got Roadrunner Dan leading away at the top, and Legion, who has been withdrawn, so he's not in that leaderboard anymore. And they're leading out at the front. And then you've got myself sort of in second place in tier 2, if you will. But I regard myself in first place in tier 2 because Dan is very, very quick and he's just down in tier 2 to help us out because he was steaming away with it in tier 1, so he's come down to help us out. We're going to go through to the race now. We're at Spa today, so I actually do love racing at Spa. It's a fantastic track. A little twist on this race is compared to the Beetles. It's a fuel saving race, so the pit length has been greatly increased in a recent update in GT Sport, so the amount of time it takes to pit is a lot more. So there's a strategy you can apply on here, which is basically going on the medium tyres as opposed to the soft tyres and try and run the whole race without pitting and fuel saved like hell. We worked this out to be roughly 9 laps, a little bit of argy-bargy and messing around at the back there. As we come through turn 1, actually a little bit of side and side between myself and Mo. Actually sends me quite wide. Gonna have to be careful rejoining here. As we come up to our route, it's going to be a little bit off the pace, so gonna have to be careful going up here, making sure I'm not doing anything too naughty. And it looks like we've got up there quite nicely. A little bit of chaos, can be a little bit of chaos going up our rouge like that as we come to the Camel Straight. In 7th place, so yeah, a fuel saving race here, so you've got to be really, really tight on the fuel. You get about this 9-lap race, with it being a 20-minute sprint, and you've probably got, if you went for it, you've probably got enough fuel to last you about 8 laps if you were hammering it. So fuel saving, quite extreme fuel saving, will save you a lot of time because the length of pit we worked out to about 45 seconds or so. So for the first time ever in the Beetles, it's worth going with this strategy, but obviously not everyone had quite worked that out at the start, or they couldn't do it because they were in automatics or something like that. It meant that there was quite a few people out here running the soft with the pit strategy, so we'll see how that unfolds and see if it in general works us out in favour. We're currently in 9th place, so we've dropped a few places down from where we started with that really bad move in turn 1. Not a great line through there, running himself a little wide. Going to have to concede a couple more places, but again, I'm not pushing too hard on this first lap just because I'm purely trying to fuel save and not trying to push too hard purposely. So I'm actually quite happy to sit towards the back and see how things unfold as we come through the pits, which should be happening sort of lap 4 and 5. That's when we'll see if this strategy pays off, of which there are probably, a good 4 or 5 of us are running this no-stop strategy. So for this first race, I went for like a just over half shift. So what I mean by that is you got like the rev elementer at the bottom of your screen when you're racing, and what I do is sort of let that rev to about half to like 2/3 before I shift up. So, and that's what I'm doing to try and fuel save through this race. As we come around now, finish off the first lap, so obviously not a great first lap there. I think we qualified in like 5th or 6th place, and now we dropped a lot of positions back to 11th, so a few mistakes in that first lap, but again, like I said, not really here to push too hard. A little bit of loss of control from OK Ranger in front, means we've got to catch up a little bit, and might give us a little space to possibly manoeuvre up through the Camel Straight and get up a couple of places. Mr. Voli loses the back end a little bit, sees him off the pace, sees me sit in his slipstream, was looking on the outside there, but then went to the inside as he to the outside track, but don't think there's enough now, so I'm just going to sit in a slip and possibly fuel save a little bit. And I had to dive in there because I outbroke him and I had to avoid the accident, so letting people go past there, because that was my mistake, my error. And now I've got to run it from back here. Didn't actually make any contact with Mr. Navoli at all, just, you know, darted off there to try and avoid the contact completely, because yeah, that was very close. Maybe should have put that one to first point of view so you could see that happen, unfold. But we're off now and we're truly in last place, so really are relying on the strat paying off with the fuel saving, as we're not away in a start, and our sponsors at a Whiskers Cat Food will not be pleased if this is the end result. So skip forward a few laps now to lap 5. Actually have climbed up a couple of positions, managed to get past Mr. Navoli, and now just behind Rivendell, seeing if we can make a move on him. We're in lap 5 now, so we're kind of expecting people to sort of start moving into their pits if they're on that soft tyre one pit strat, and we'll see if that pays off in the end and pulls us a little bit further up this race. As I said, with the pit length being extremely long, it was worth considering, especially like even if you do lose a bit of pace in the actual race itself, and even in quality, because practice times I was putting in 2:18s. You can see the times there, I'm nowhere near that on the right hand side, but when I was on softs, you know, not fuel saving, and you can see me fuel saving there, it's just shifting up halfway through the 5th gear. I'll probably shift up to 7 before I hit the corner. You can see there I've got my hazards on for some reason, just for effect. Must not realise they were on, but here's what it is. Coming down now to the final chicane. That's Spa. So yeah, general. So you can see all those guys going into pit now. You can see them roughly with about 25-30% fuel, whereas I'm roughly about 50%. So you can see the how much fuel saving I've been trying to put in there, and you can see that's moved me up a lot of positions as people come in. And like I said, that pit length, I don't think some people realised how long it actually was. I timed it around about 40-45 seconds. You can see it's pulled me out in 5th position. Got Ryan is bad behind us, which I know he's got me in pace, and although I know I've got a 3 to 4 second gap, I reckon he's probably got enough to come back past me before the end of the race. So looking like we're going to be trying to aim for 6th here. Not going to try and over defend against Ryan, because on a read of it, and the fact he's on the obviously much better tyres now and he's not fuel saving like I am and stuff like that, and don't want to over defend against him. So I can't see, if he was to make the move on me, that I'm going to try and get on the inside and make sure he can't make the pass. I'll probably open the door pretty wide open for him to walk through, so I can just focus on the fuel saving strat and keeping at a relatively consistent pace. You can see they're still hitting those 22s, 23s, which I'm, you know, quite a few seconds down a lap there. But like I said, with the pit length being so long, it soon grinds itself, and I'm picking up a little bit better pace now with running a 21.8 there, but certainly a few seconds off my best. So maybe being a little bit conservative on the fuel saving, but wanting to ensure that I didn't run out before the end. So you can see I'm actually maybe leaving it a little bit too long, shifting there. As we come up now through El Rouge, just managed to hold that in the track limits just about, I think. As we now come round with Cuzzy behind us, and like I said, he looks like he got the pace on me here. If you look at that time slipping down, I think even I was talking to him at the time, asking if he wanted to go on that inside, because I'm not defending against him. Didn't have enough to get it done there, but he's in pretty much the attack zone now. But I do remember as I was talking to him at the time, I think I even gave him the heads up that I wasn't going to defend against him, as he's looking at the inside now, and I've maybe left that door a little bit too wide open as I run myself off there. But not really massively input for one. You can see we've got 11 seconds now between us and Mo in 6th place. So that's the buffer we're kind of looking for. Imagine that will grind down if you're down at the end of the race, but it's quite a big gap there. So you can see there we skip forward now to lap 8, so we're come up to the last lap. You see the gap between us and Mo has ground down to about 6 seconds. You can see I've actually caught up to Rodon and Dan and Lays coming up here. Did a bit of work trying to get through that, and we're just coming out straight. And actually, I've lost it there a little bit, but managed to somehow salvage that and not end up nose against the wall. But that's going to lose me a bit of pace, definitely. No hope now of catching up with Lays and Dan, and again, just gives Mo that maybe a little bit of hope there as he now grinds his gap down to just over 3.5 seconds. Put the fuel at the top there, so we're just under 1 lap of fuel. So I don't want to push it too hard. I want to make sure that I can get round by the end. Make sure that I can hold on to this 5th place as we run ourselves a little wide there, but again, hold it together inside the track limits. Coming down the Camel Straight. To the right hander. Again, Dan and Lays in front of us. Lays, again, I've said this in multiple videos, my kind of main rival in the series in terms of pace and standings and stuff like that. So, a little bit disappointed to be finishing behind him, but he really had his eye in on this track. And yeah, it wasn't, you know, you saw not a great start to the race for myself. A couple of mistakes saw me slipping wide and stuff like that, having to give away spaces pretty much without people have to earn them from me. But you know, if we're able to hold this off, and you can see Mo really catching now, 2.5 seconds away. Still going to be quite an ask for him to get up and actually get past me before the end of the race, as we've got about half a lap left now. Again, slowly catching up with Dan and Lays, who are scrapping each other in front of me, but again, I don't think there's much chance of catching up and making a pass myself. As Mo, you can see, really is catching now with just a second in it now. Got to really make sure. Fuel's about 3%, so a third of a lap, just under a third of a lap remaining as we come down now to the long straight. Lose the back end a little bit there. That's going to cost me a little bit more time. You can see the time dropping off now with Mo within half a second, so this has got very squeaky bum now as the fuel is dropping off. 1% fuel left, and am I going to have enough fuel to finish this off? It's very, very tight as we come down now and run wide there. Do well to get back on without getting a penalty. Doesn't look like Mo's going to get past before the chicane, so it's secure, but the fuel is at 0, so looks like we might not have the no, we've run out of fuel at the very end. That's a disaster, and we sort of flop over the line, if you will, in 6th position. Still a good result if you're considering, you know, good portion of the start of the race we were effectively in last place. So in terms of that view, 6th place is actually quite pleasing, but a little disappointed for Mo to steal it at the end there. But a fair play to him for obviously working really hard to catch and bring down that gap. But, you know, we're not going to complain too much. Not a bad result. So we're going to go into race 2 now. So this is reverse grid. So we're going to see ourselves obviously where we finished in around about the middle of the pack anyway. So not far where we started last from. Just obviously difference being obviously we're going to have faster people behind us this time, and in some ways slower people in front. And now obviously a lot of people saw how effective the fuel saving method was, because you saw how effective it was there, you know, big jump up, and took Mo a long time to grind back that gap that they had from that pit. So this race we had a lot more people switch over to this strategy, so going to still run it, but and it will be effective because there's some people who are on automatic in automatic cars and stuff like that, so they couldn't even if they wanted to, because you can't early shift obviously if you're not automatic. And this one I'm probably going to be a little bit more fuel savoury. I know that's not a term, but more conscious on fuel, because obviously I don't want to run out before the last straight again. So I remember I decided in my head I was going to shift up at a third of the limiter to really make sure. As again we concede a few places on the exit of turn 1 there, having to drop back to 9th in a pack here. Just trying to stay out of trouble, make sure we're not hitting anybody, causing any carnage. Come through now, sitting up on Ryan, going on the outside, maybe blocked off Will a little bit there, but if anything just lets him sit in my slip and maybe fuel save himself a little bit. Self just behind RMA, and Lays just in front of him. So again, my target's really trying to finish races in front of Lays to ensure when I finish the series I'm sort of in the position I'm in at the minute, which is just behind Dan in terms of tier 2. And we've got the pace on RMA there, gone up on the inside, maybe a little bit late. Are we going to hold it on the track, or is he going to get back on the cutback? Yeah, Probably didn't feel too great about that myself. Maybe a little bit of a dive pull on the inside, so opened the door back up for him to come through. Actually didn't get a great one through there. It looks like I got Ryan up on the inside now, making that move to go past. And he's got that done nicely, and I'm really conservative through there, affording a lot of room. Lucky Will wasn't up on me there because he would have got past as well. So again, slipping to the back at the start of this race. But again, I'm just thinking about fuel, thinking about not trying to over defend every place and get myself in an unnecessary fight. I'd sooner just sit at the back, concentrate on my fuel saving, and see if that can earn me a top half finish in. It's one of those things where I've got mixed feelings about this race, because I actually really enjoyed racing at Spa, and I was really, when I saw it in like the, you know, the list of rounds when I first joined the Beetles, I was like, oh, Spa, yeah, race at Spa, I'm really looking forward to that. And I enjoy hammering it around Spa, but obviously having to, how efficient this fuel saving method is, you can't ignore it. You just go, oh, screw it, I'm just going to go on softs and hammer it. So yeah, it kind of tainted Spa a little bit for me, because in the sense I was more concentrating on fuel saving than I was on the racing, as we actually managed to make a little gain there. Looks like we're I don't think I was actually trying to make an overtake there. I think I just went up on the inside as not to make a conga line going in there and leave myself exposed to Will. But again, Will, with that pace he's got, not looking really to over defend against him. I know I'm on the inside there, but that's more about track position. And yeah, he's just got that cut back there. So again, going to use him for slip, going up through here. Use that as a way to fuel save, so I don't have to full throttle up through the straight, while still maintaining my speed with the slipstream boost. So I'm just going to sit there now and really try and see if I can make some gains a bit further up. So we've actually skipped forward, not far, just a little bit further ahead in the lap. Not much really seeing it happening. Will, you can see he's made the move, gone up. The belt had a slip there, so that's afforded us to go up one place, and we're just sat up behind our RMA at the moment. Coming through the final third of the lap, got ourselves in a nice place here to possibly make a move, and he probably not too aware we're there, and kind of squeezed a little bit on the outside as we went to make the pass, as we had that much superior speed. And that's just a nice overtake, down to overtake for every corner. Best overtake is on a straight. A lot of cars coming through the chicane there with myself, just coming through now, so nice tight pack in front of me here, so certainly not out of this race by any stretch of the imagination. Still sort of keeping up in general with the pack, and again, hopefully when we get around to lap 4 and 5, as the pits start going in, you'll hopefully see other people peel away and us move up. Just probably not as impactful as last time, with a few people switching their strategy over. I'm going to slip over now to lap 4, find ourselves in 8th position. So I think Mr. Navoli had a slip, or he might have already pitted. No, he's probably would have been a slip with only a 5-second gap. Finds himself just behind his 4th place. Oh, sorry, 4th lap. And we're just going up here. We've got Ryan and Rivendell. And are we going to be going 3 wide? Am I going to put myself in there? I think I am. Got the superior braking. A little bit of side on side on Lays. Bit of 50-50 that. I did remember talking to him at the time, and I felt a bit bad for that one, so I did offer the position back to him, but he told me just to go on, to keep racing. He was happy with it, so if he was happy, I was happy. And I'm quite happy with this situation here, because I kind of want Ryan in front of me, and I just want to use him to slip. I've actually got a lot better exit here, so just gonna go up on the outside. Again, probably not looking to overtake unless it's a simple one. Let him take the line and I'll follow him. And affording him a bit of room there, maybe a little bit too much. Makes me drop off the pace a bit, and Rivendell Lay squeeze up to me, but hopefully now I can just put my concentration hat on and push forward, as we're now in 6th place. So good position here now, a bit better than what we were last time. Rivendell dips up on that inside, makes that move, and I sort of return the favour as he wants to have a little wide. Lays having a peek, not getting a great exit through that last turn, so tricky one for him there. As we come down now to the technical part of the track, as I run myself a little wide there, might even get a pen for that one. And Rivendell catching back up, squeezed him out a little bit at the edge of the lap there, but ultimately a 4 in the room, and now he's gone through. Good little fight here between him and myself as I dip back on the inside of him again, so a couple of little quick overtakes between him and myself. Nice fight, definitely going on. And he's got me on slipstream here, so you can see him just in the mirror on that left there, and he's definitely favoured to get past me if you can use the slip correctly. I'm just going to try and take my ideal line and let him do whatever he does. He runs himself a little wide there. I have to come off the accelerator myself just to make sure that I'm getting through. And he's, yeah, that's my pen for running wide, and he's coming through now. Has he broken himself, or has he held it? He's held that well and got that overtake done. So, like I said, good scrap going on here, but certainly not over yet, as I'm up behind him as we come up through here, through up to turn 1. And obviously turn 1's followed by ArbieG and the cable straight, so a nice long bit of straight track to get an overtake, and he's run himself really, really wide there. And that just forced me just to take the shorter course through the turn and take that position back. But again, we're in a similar position now where he's on my slip. I'm probably going to look to get an overtake himself as we come through the cable straight. So good fun racing here. Really remember actually really enjoying this fight, this battle. Really respectful and really tight and good stuff. He takes the inside line there going in. He's gonna get that and see if I can get a little bit of a better exit here as I take the right hand side of the track. He takes the left, and so you can see me just trying to get that cut back, taking turns a little bit deeper, trying to get that superior exit speed like I do there, and that forces me again just to slip up again and retake 6th position. So all this battling is obviously, you can see time wise, is what I mean when you need to choose your battles. I know the guys in front of me probably got me in pace, so I'm not too bothered about trying to catch them, but these guys I want to fight with, and that's why you see me actually trying to fight for a change rather than just giving them positions away, like some people sort of claim I do sometimes, which I don't. I just like to choose who I race against, not race unnecessarily against people who are ultimately going to beat me, and all I'm going to do is slow myself down. So you can see Rivendell again, just nicking that position through a mistake from me going through that turn previous. He's actually managed to gain himself a little advantage here. By the looks of it, well, I'm not out of range yet. Lays unfortunately has dropped off a little bit, finds himself about a second half behind, leaving myself and Rivendell to scrap against each other. So he's coming through now again in that long final straight. Well, not really a straight, but obviously a part of the track where you're flat out for a considerable length. As I run myself wide there, probably might again pick up a pen with that one and come into the final chicane. And we're still just sat behind Rivendell in this scrap for 6th place as we come around now into the start of the 7th lap, turn 1. So yeah, I was actually really starting to enjoy this race now. I know I'm still in fuel saving, so all the way through this, as I actually slip and bin it there, and we've caught it just about. Don't know how I caught that slip there, but recovered pretty well. But obviously you can see that's hurt. Now you can see a skip forward there. I actually got myself back in front of Lays. Unfortunately slipped off from Rivendell a bit, but I believe he's about to go in and pit. So ultimately all that scrapping, it doesn't, you know, still means me coming out in front with him running that soft. So I was pleased I was able to scrap so hard with, you know, me on the slower compound and ultimately fuel saving, whereas he was probably pushing it a bit harder. So nice to know I can still fight at that level. But we're now into lap 8, 5th position. Lays just over a second behind me. Ryan, obviously no hope of catching him outside of him doing something stupid. So it really is now just trying to cement myself in 5th place. We get a better exit through there with us dropping away from Lays. Now you can see that time now extending to about a second and a half. So a much better exit there. Especially on our best time. So again, not doing anything fabulous in terms of terms on the left there. You know, 22s. I mean, I've been, again, a lot of fighting, a lot of scrapping. I know I can get actually below 20 on mediums and stuff like that, but you can see how short I'm shifting now. Very short as we come down the sweeping right-hander. And again, extending that gap between myself and Lays up now to 2 seconds. And it still seems to be growing. I don't know if he's fuel saving a lot more himself as well to make sure that he can finish off these last 2 laps. It should be a good result. I've ultimately obviously dropped more points than I've gained through these 2 rounds, as he finished a few places in front of me last time. But we've got a nice enough gap between us that I hopefully can maintain it to the end of the season. As we come through now into the final lap, with now you can see extending that gap up between myself and Lays to about 4.5 seconds. You'll see Mo as well drop behind right in, and actually 5 seconds off, so obviously no hope at all of doing that. As he actually time's dropping off, so I think he's actually run out of fuel. So I remember him saying at the time, and I got a bit like, oh, can I do this? But I think even still the gap's too much, and with getting that pen as well, no hope city. As we come up now to finish the race in 5th place, so a 6th place finish in the first race and a 5th place in the second race. Certainly not bad results at all. Maybe feel like maybe could have done a bit better in the early part of both races to try and keep up with the top half of the pack and really make that gap count. But happy with the end result at the end of the day. You know, didn't have any major slippages. A couple that I managed to catch and ultimately lose a few seconds here and there, but nothing a race ending, which is what we want. But yeah, that was it for today's round. So yeah, only a couple more weeks left to go on the Beetles, so really starting to get to the tail end to wrap this all up and finish off, which I'm really excited. I've really enjoyed taking part. I think I started in round 3 and now obviously wrapping up here on round 8. I think it was round 8, yeah. Around 8 anyway. And yeah, really enjoyed it. Really fun races. Obviously the new angle on the fuel saving was a bit of a new one for me. Not done many heavy fuel saving races, so kind of felt like I got to grips to it a little bit more in race 2. Kind of messed it up a little bit in race 1 and ultimately run out of fuel on that final straight, which lost me a position. So something to learn there and take away. But that is it for today's video. We actually got no league races taking place. Well, it's actually this week now, so we're in this week, so no league races taking place as the guys are away training with GT Fusion, which couldn't take part in myself because I just want to still get used to being on track, and I'm just committed to the leagues that I'm in at the moment. But a couple of events taking place this week, which I'm going to hop into and take part, so you hopefully see some videos over that. Something happened at Suzuka and a couple of bits, so you'll see some stuff come out, but we won't be continuing on with the Beetle series for a couple of weeks now until the guys are back from practice. But that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you wouldn't mind, just hit the subscribe button. It's nice to get a subscriber every now and again. And if you want to ever join in the races, ART, a very open community of clean drivers who just want to sort of have a good fun time outside of the dailies. And if that sounds like your kind of thing, just join the Discord in the description below and it will be there for you. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys really soon. Okay, cheers.